seconds and counting.
Hey, what's up, guys? Clips Entertainment here, back with another video. And today we are going to be previewing the Houston Texans' upcoming Week 2 game against the Indianapolis Colts at home. This is a pretty exciting matchup, I would say. It's DeMeco Ryans' first regular season home game back in NRG Stadium, but this time as the head coach of the Houston Texans. I'm sure a lot of fans are excited. Hopefully, the crowd will show up and show out. I think Ryan said that he wants the fans to be able to create a home field advantage that honestly the Texans haven't had for quite a few years. We're gonna talk about a lot of the keys of the game today as I'm joined here by Jacob. But first of all, let's talk about the injuries. This week didn't really get any better in terms of like we seem to have already banged up a little bit. Laramie Tunsil has missed 2 practices. He's limited on Thursday. I guess he's trying to rest it or in practice precautionary on Friday. We'll see what's going on there. He's probably going to play. We'll see what happens this week on Wednesday. Hassan Ridgeway and Noah Brown were placed on injury reserve, meaning that they're out for the next 4 games. And Jimmy Ward has not practiced all week either, and neither has Jalen Petrie, who went to the hospital at halftime of last week's game with a bruised lung. He is okay, but you just have to wonder how they're going to deal with all of that because those coughing blood and stuff like that. But Jacob, let's get to more of the game here. What are your keys to the game and things to look out for?
I think Texans definitely got to just run the ball better. I mean, we barely ran the ball against Baltimore, which was weird, but Indy, like their front 7 is good, but we got to establish the run, and like their secondary is really bad. So if we're able to run the ball, we can hit some big shots and play action, and I think it'll be a huge advantage for us for this game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Offense coordinator Bobby Slowick admitted during this week that he didn't give Damian Pierce the ball. He didn't establish the run. He said he wanted to stick with the run for longer, and I kind of feel like he's saying that because of the offensive line play. The Texans had 5 sacks, tons of pressure on C.J. Stroud. The running game, there just was not enough push against a Ravens defensive line that doesn't really have a superstar on it. And now the Texans are going up against the Colts who have a superstar and an all-pro in DeForest Buckner. They also have a really, really good defense tackle and underrated player in Grover Stewart. They also have Kwity Paye as a defensive end. So this matchup in terms of pass rush, run defense, and it really does not get much better for the Houston Texans offense line that's banged up. They're not used to playing with each other. And it's gonna be a little bit concerning, but the Texans need to, be more creative. Bobby Slowick kind of just played a little bit too conservative too. We didn't see a lot of the concepts that he ran, or not necessarily called in San Francisco as the pass game coordinator, but at least he was in the room with Kyle Shanahan. He knows that Kyle Shanahan loves to use motion. He loves to run wide zone. We didn't really see a lot of that creativity that we know is possible from Bobby Slowick. Again, it could be because of the offensive line play, but I just think that at some point you just gotta say screw it and go for it. Defensively for the Houston Texans, Jacob, what are they gonna need to do against an Anthony Richardson led offense that's without Jonathan Taylor?
You got to still contain the quarterback run. I mean, Richardson is going to try to just run all over us, and the other thing that I noticed from Richardson's game last week is that he really only tries to throw to the right side of the field. So you got to be aware of that and just put some pressure on him and maybe try to force some bad decisions because, I mean, he threw a pick last week and he made a couple other throws that were ill-advised. You can try to force mistakes with him. And, our pass rush looked good last week. So if we can continue to get that pressure, I think it'll bother Richardson.
Yeah, honestly, I have really no concerns whatsoever about the Texans defense. They played very, very well against Lamar Jackson, the most dynamic, athletic, running threat quarterback, however you want to put it, in the entire NFL over the past years. And now they're going against Anthony Richardson, and really, he's not as good of a passer. He already banged his knee up a little bit in the last game, so they're not concerned about, Colts running all over us. Without Jonathan Taylor, like I said, they have Deion Jackson, Evan Hull, not really, and Jake Funk, not really a good running back room, if you will. So the Texans can contain Anthony Richardson, like Jacob said, they should be in good hands. And he also mentioned how he goes to the right side. He threw to the right side 29 times last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Derek Stingley took 100% of the snaps at left cornerback, and what that is, if you flip the field around, that would be the same exact spot where Anthony Richardson will be throwing the ball. So look out for a potential big game for Derek Stingley Jr. He played well against Odell last week. Zay Flowers got him once on a catch for 20 yards. But that was it. Derek Stingley had a good game. Steven Nelson had an interception last week. Texans secondary was good, even without Jimmy Ward, Jalen Petrie. The linebackers look good. So really, at this point, it just comes down to the Houston Texans offense. Jacob, after everything we talked about, what is going to be your score prediction for Sunday's game?
I think my score prediction, I'm going 21-14 Texans. I think they win by a score. I think they're the better team. The injuries are the main concern for me in this game with them. The injuries are what really concerns me. If Tunsil doesn't play, and I don't think Ward or Petrie is going to play, that's a big hit. But I think at home, I think it's going to be a really good environment. And I think Stroud is a more ready quarterback over Richardson. I think they're going to win this game. And I think it'll be pretty close all throughout, but I think they'll come out with the win.
Yeah, I keep seeing a lot of people, just kind of assume that the Texans are going to win this game. People feel that they are the better team, but I honestly, while they may be the better team, it's really hard for me to trust this team after last week's performance on offense. I'm going to go with Colts 20, Texans 17. I just feel like the offense isn't going to get going. It's really hard for, those changes to be made on the offensive line in terms of injuries, in terms of miscommunication. If you expect that to happen in all in 1 week, then I'm sorry, your hopes are going to be let down a little bit. I still have high hopes for a very, very young Texans offense. I talked about the creativity Bobby Slowick could bring, just not sure that we're going to see that in week one. This team could definitely hang around with really whoever they want. DeMeco Ryans is a great defensive coach. You saw the play calls he was running against the Ravens. He was giving them headaches. He can do that against the Colts, but at the end of the day, it really comes down to the offense. Texans allow 20 points, that's whatever. But they score 17 at home after last week. It's just simply not enough to get the job done. I really hope I'm wrong here. But other than that, I do expect the Texans to start 0-2. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop your score predictions for the game down below, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.